Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where?
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like fucker? You fucker, fucker!
Huh? What the f?
Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime. I'm your online voice for reviews of your choice. When it comes to popular mainstream anime, it's not always easy to tell which ones are full of quality, chocolatey anime goodness and which ones are just full of shit. Thanks to Cartoon Network, anime has gone worldwide and created a new global generation of fans thanks to epic popular anime titles such as Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. But hype tends to backfire in most cases. Many shows aren't all Cartoon Network cracks them up to be, and many find themselves disappointed wasting time and money on a show that wasn't worth either. Thankfully, that is not the case with today's BS anime review, and that anime is Death Note. Death Note is brought to you by Viz Media and Cartoon Network on Adult Swim. It stars the vocal talents of Brad Swaley as Light Yagami, Alessandro Giuliani as L, Shannon Chan Kent as Misa Amane, Brian Drummond as Ryuk, Kathy Weseluk as Nier, and Vincent Tong as Tota Matsuda. I apologize if I said any of those names incorrectly. They're kind of hard to pronounce. The plot. Bored, brilliant student Light Yagami gets a gift from the Death Gods, better known as Shinigami, as a special magical notebook is dropped into his lap by a wisecracking demon called Ryuk. Ryuk tells Light this book will kill anyone whose name is written inside it. That person will die of a heart attack if no specifics are specified 40 seconds after it is written. However, the writer must know the real name and face of the person he is trying to kill for it to work. Believing this book to be a gift from the gods, he transforms himself into a media god by calling himself Kira and using the Death Note to wipe out the scum of humanity with his own demented sense of justice. To battle this new threat, the police create a special task force dedicated to stopping Kira, aka Light, led by the brilliant and bizarre detective L. Thus, a cat-and-mouse game of god-like epic proportions ensues between L and Kira, determining the fate of their lives and countless others in a race to see who gets who first. Review of the plot. When I first heard about this show's plot, I laughed because I honestly didn't think a show could last so long with a story like that. 37 episodes later, I'm not laughing anymore. To say this show is an ingenious use of clever writing, compelling twists and turns, and incredibly passionate detail and depth with its characters would be putting it mildly. Death Note is one of the most brilliantly fresh shows that I've ever seen. This is an anime of epic intelligence that forces your mind to really grind its gears and gives new meaning to the phrase "the pen is mightier than the sword." There is so much deep thinking going around, and the show follows it almost wickedly perfect. I've never seen this show make words and dialogue so compelling and dramatic before. This show has small moments of action, and originally I thought that would make it a drag, but the show never lets up and constantly tests your brain with lots of intense strategic planning and questioning morality almost all the time. It's a masterpiece of verbal viciousness that left my mind and eyes totally overwhelmed. Review of the characters. No good script is worth its printed paper unless a great cast fills its holes, and Death Note excels to greatness in this area once again. Very few shows have the villain as its main character. Light Yagami is a villain unlike any other, and with a voice that matches his twisted mind and provides a hellish performance, Swaley perfectly nails the endless slew of speech that spew from Light's lips. With perfect delivery, he matches every exaggerated laugh, every psychotic mood swing with elegant ease, making every word from his mouth well played and well delivered. Light is a sick, sadistic son of a bitch who proves he's even colder and more heartless than most superpowered villains. However, everyone, myself included, agrees that the unofficial star of this show is L, a character so iconic and so downright weird you almost can't believe he exists. L has instant recognition and attraction. His butt-backwards demeanor and odd eating and sitting habits make him a joy to listen to and joy to watch. Giuliani matches L's voice excellently with his appearance. Even with such a low speaking tone, he defines the character so amazingly well. I just love L so much. Hell, I love all the characters. I could barely list those 6 first actors because there are just so many great performances in here. But by far my favorite character comes from Ryuk, voiced by former Ocean dub Vegeta himself, Brian Drummond, who gives the smart-ass, wisecracking Shinigami scene-stealing material every shot he's in. I also adored Misa for her cuteness and humor appeal. Love or loathe her, I found her humor to be a nicely needed break from all the tension and made for an interesting foil for the show and for Light and L. Review on the animation and the music. The animation is quite flawless, to be perfectly honest. It's flawless in its vivid detail and making these characters look very realistic. I mean, these guys don't look like anime characters. They look almost like real people. No one looks bubbly or too cartoony, and everyone's faces are designed to authentically to real people, as their facial reactions essentially define them throughout most of the show, since, like I said, most of it's done in dialogue. I love how Light and Nier and other characters had color shadows over them when they were in deep thought. I thought it was a neat touch, and the Shinigami designs are very creepy and cool looking at the same time. Music very dark, very epic, and it fit in just fine with the show. I felt it flowed fairly nicely with the tension in each scene. You know, they had some really cool opening and ending themes. I especially love the second opening, which is called What's Up, People? And, the first time I saw it, I was just like, this can't be real. And the second time I saw it, I thought about it, and then one thing came to mind. I thought, my God, how baked out of their skulls were the animators when they smoked out that opening. Even if you do not watch this series, seriously, I just highly recommend checking the opening out. It's totally worth it. Everything about this show is very serious and sincere, and the music and animation make everything just seem to fit together just so wonderfully, and I just loved just how great this series just came together. It had a great cast of characters. It uses each character with each great performance very well and very nicely all tied together. Nothing is really left behind or unexplained. You get vivid explanation details with everything going around you. Flaws about the show. Despite the utter awesomeness that is Death Note, and believe me, it's quite awesome, if you couldn't already tell by my already exuberant explanation of the show, there are some flaws with it that I regret that I have to mention. As I said, there are a few bad apples in this show, and one of them actually goes back to one of the good apples I was referring to, and that would be the animation. As I said, the animation is really good. However, I really didn't care for the bizarre vampiric-like complexion everyone seemed to have. It's like every cast member in the show stayed far away from the sun for like 10 years and never got any exposure until now. It tends to make the characters look far too pale and similar facial-wise, and I really didn't care for that, which makes it kind of hard to make the characters any more distinguishable outside of their hairstyles or for their voices. Another problem comes from the Death Note's strongest point, the talking. The show gets way too chatty Cathy sometimes, and it can get on your nerves. It's just like in freaking Naruto when they're stopping a kick-ass fight to waste 45 minutes of our time explaining to me what the hell just happened with that fancy punch or whatever the hell they just did. It's really unnecessary, and at times it can get downright annoying. Death Note talks a bit too much sometimes, and it can drag on more likely than not. And it usually ends up leaving you confused because it's so hard to keep up with what they're saying and doing half the time. Since everything is done on just how intense the dialogue has to be, it tends to drag on a bit, and that's not always a good thing. Especially since the show is relying heavily on all of the talking. Another thing that kind of bugged me, now I got over this, but kind of disappointed me, is that so much of the killings that Light does to for his holy new empire of cleaning out the wicked with the Death Note, you don't really see a lot of the people he's killing. I mean, so much is implied and inferred with what is being done with the book, and I was a little disappointed that with a book that allows you such creativity in how to kill these people, so much was just limited to the heart attack thing. Now, I know that makes sense because the show's focuses on the characters, and like I know they said, not action. However, I thought this was just kind of a wasted opportunity. Not like I want to see them do this, but I can imagine that if it was brought over to Hollywood, or at least America, or hell, even just an American fan fiction writer, I bet you can come up with some pretty kick-ass and sweet, weird little death scenes or situations you can come up with using this book. It's like I said, it's not a big thing. I got over it because obviously the uses of the characters, but still, I felt that was one of the... You could have used something more out of that. There could have been something more used from that. And it's a lost cause, but in any case. Final wrap-up. I want to make it clear that despite how much I love this thing, Death Note is by no means a perfect show. There is too much talking, and sometimes the pale anime clone faces tend to drag the show down a couple times in the mud or more. However, the good in this show easily outweighs the bad. The dialogue and the story is absolutely supreme, perfect, hellacious, kick-ass. You've got an A-list vocal cast for an equally A-plus cast of characters that remain compelling, interesting, and iconic from start to finish. Death Note is an anime that is well deserving of its popular fame, popular hype, and just popularity all around. There is so much to love this show for, and I highly recommend you guys check it out because it is a show worth loving, worth seeing, and above all, worth buying. Bottom line, I give Death Note an extremely eager 4 stars out of 5 stars. Well, that's all for now. Thank you all guys for listening. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews, and bye for now.